They just let it happen. They literally just stood there and let it happen. Brock Lesnar, Brock, came back. And he didn't come back alone. He brought a whole squad with him like he's running some kind of war party now. And Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is on the ground. Not standing tall. Not celebrating. On the ground. Broken. Again. This is wrong. This is so wrong. Because Seth has been through everything. Everything this company has thrown at him. The Shield exploding in his face. His own best friend turning on him. His knee getting shattered on live television. He has survived all of it. And now Brock shows up with an entire crew and just dismantles him like he's nothing. Like everything Seth built means nothing. Wait, what? No, seriously, wait. Since when does Brock Lesnar roll with a team? This is the same man who used to say he didn't need anybody. The same Brock who fired Paul Heyman because he thought he was too good for a manager. That Brock, coming out here with backup. That means something changed. Something broke inside him. Or something scared him. And that is what nobody is talking about right now, because everyone is focused on Seth being laid out. But I'm looking at Brock's face, and he doesn't look like a conqueror. He looks like a man who finally decided to stop playing fair, because playing fair wasn't working anymore. Now let's slow this down, because the moment that changed everything happened fast, too fast, and if you blinked you probably missed exactly why this felt so personal. Oba Femi was there. Oba Femi, this kid has been rising, fast. Dangerously fast, and you could see it in Brock's eyes the second Oba stepped up. There was a flicker, just a flicker, of something Brock Lesnar almost never shows. Recognition, like he saw something in Oba that reminded him of himself, and instead of respecting it, he wanted to crush it, right there, right now, before it grew into something that could actually challenge him. Because Brock Lesnar doesn't compete with the future, he eliminates it, so his team held Seth down, held him down, while Brock stood over Oba. And that's when it stopped being an attack. That's when it became a message that said, I decide who gets to be great. Not you, not the fans, me. And Seth tried to get up. Of course he did, because that's what Seth does. Seth Rollins does not stay down. It's physically impossible for that man to just lay there. He crawled. He actually crawled toward Oba, trying to protect him. This man who has been betrayed by everyone he ever trusted. Was throwing himself on a grenade for a guy he barely even knows yet. That hit different. That hit really different. Because Seth didn't have to do that. He could have stayed down. Nobody would have blamed him. But he didn't. And Brock saw it. And Brock smiled. That sick, cold smile. And then he made it worse. He made it so much worse. Because hurting Seth physically wasn't enough anymore. Brock wanted Seth to feel helpless. Wanted him to watch. Wanted him to understand that this time, there is no comeback. No miraculous recovery, no moment where the music hits and Seth rises up swinging. This time Brock came prepared. This time Brock came with people, and that changes everything. Because here's the truth, the brutal, uncomfortable truth. Seth Rollins has fought alone for most of his career. Even when he had allies they eventually left, they always leave. Dean left, Roman left in his own way. Even the friendships Seth tried to build after the Shield, they cracked, every single one. And now he's standing across from a man who has an actual unit behind him. A man who decided that winning alone wasn't as important as making sure Seth loses. That's personal. That's not a rivalry anymore. That's a war. And wars aren't won by the most talented person in the room. They are won by whoever is willing to go furthest, willing to cross lines. And Brock just showed us he has no lines left. No moral code. No honor. Nothing. Just results. Just destruction. Just control. And Oba Femi, oh man, this kid just got his first real education in what WWE brutality actually looks like. Because Oba has been dominant, shockingly dominant, the kind of dominant that makes veterans nervous. He walks into a room and the energy shifts. He's not supposed to be this good this fast. He's not supposed to carry himself like that at his age. And people have noticed. The right people, the dangerous people. Brock noticed. And Brock doesn't send a message with words. He doesn't call you out on the microphone. He doesn't tweet. He shows up. And he hurts you. And then he leaves you there so everyone can see what you look like when you're broken. So right now Oba Femi has a choice to make. The same choice every young star faces when they get their first real taste of cruelty. You either shrink, or you catch fire. Some guys shrink. They get physically hurt and something in the confidence just never fully comes back. You can see it in their eyes. The hesitation, the flinch, the half a second of doubt before they throw a punch. Brock has done that to people before, done it to careers. But then, Some guys catch fire, some guys get beaten down and something switches, something locks in, and they become a completely different animal. We've seen it happen. Lesnar himself forged people in that fire without meaning to, and if Oba Femi is who I think he is, if he's as real as he looks, then Brock Lesnar just made the worst mistake of his entire return. He woke something up. He gave that kid a reason, not just a rivalry, a reason. And Seth, let's talk about Seth for a second because I don't think people understand what this moment means for him psychologically. Seth Rollins has rebuilt himself so many times, so many versions of Seth, from the future of the Shield, to the Authority's golden boy, to the lunatic in the costume, to the visionary. Every single time he gets destroyed he reinvents, comes back different, comes back hungry, but this time feels different because this time someone targeted him specifically to make him feel small, not to beat him, not to win a title. Brock didn't pin Seth, he didn't need a win, he needed Seth to feel powerless, and that is so much more dangerous than a loss, because Seth can absorb a loss. He's done it 100 times, he knows how to process a loss. Losses have structure, losses have endings, but humiliation? Humiliation has no structure, it just lives in you. It changes how you carry yourself, changes how you walk to the ring, changes how you look at the crowd, and Brock knows this. He's an apex predator not just physically, he hunts the mental game too. He wants Seth rattled, wants him reactive, wants him to make emotional decisions, because a reactive Seth Rollins is a vulnerable Seth Rollins, and a vulnerable Seth Rollins makes mistakes, and Brock will be waiting for that mistake, smiling, arms crossed, just waiting. So what happens now? Honestly, what actually happens next? Here's what I think, and keep in mind this is just how I see it. I think Brock is building towards something bigger. This wasn't a random attack. You don't come back to WWE with an entourage for a random attack. That's a statement of purpose. That's someone who has a plan, and the plan involves keeping Seth out of his way. Not because Seth is weak, but because Seth is the one person in that locker room who has proven he can survive Brock multiple times. And Brock respects almost nobody, but the people he respects, he fears, just a little bit, deep down, way down under the ego and the F5S and the Suplex City chants. There's a part of Brock that knows Seth is dangerous, and the team isn't just muscle, the team is insurance. It's Brock saying I'm not taking chances this time I'm doing it right, this time I'm being smart, which is honestly scarier than angry Brock. Angry Brock is emotional, emotional makes mistakes. Smart Brock, calculated Brock, that is a completely different nightmare. And then there's the wild card, Oba Femi's reaction. Because here's the thing nobody is asking yet. What does Oba do with this? Does he come out next week trying to prove something? Does he go quiet for a while, train differently, come back changed? Does he do something absolutely unhinged that nobody expects? Because I've watched enough wrestling to know that the worst thing you can do to a young hungry fighter is embarrass them publicly. It either ends them, or it creates a monster, and I'm not betting on this one ending Oba Femi, not even close. I think we're about to see a side of him that Brock wasn't prepared for. I think the version of Oba that shows up after this is going to be unrecognizable, and that is not good news for Lesnar. That is not good news for anyone in that locker room honestly, because a wounded lion doesn't stop being a lion, it stops being careful. Okay, real quick before I finish, trivia question for the comments. How many times has Brock Lesnar been WWE Champion across all his runs? Drop the number below and let's see who actually knows the Lesnar history. Now here's where I leave you, and I want you to really think about this. Seth Rollins has survived betrayal from his brothers, survived injury, survived being buried, survived being turned into a joke, survived every single thing this business threw at him, and he's still here, still one of the most compelling people on that roster. Oba Femi came out of nowhere and made veterans uncomfortable in months. Both of these men got beaten down tonight. Both of them are hurting. Both of them have something to prove. And Brock Lesnar just decided to make enemies out of both of them at the same time. So here's your question. Here's what I need you to settle in the comments right now. When the dust clears, when the smoke settles, when Brock finally has to pay for everything he just started tonight, who is the one that breaks him? Is it Seth Rollins? The man who refuses to stay down, the man who has been forged in betrayal and fire for over a decade, the man who will crawl toward you on broken hands just to make a point? Or is it Oba Femi, the new monster, the rising force that nobody fully understands yet, the one Brock looked at tonight and chose to hurt before he became too dangerous to stop? One man with experience, one man with hunger, both with something to prove, both with a reason. Who ends Brock Lesnar's run this time? Tell me in the comments, and tell me why, because I have a feeling this is just the beginning, and I have a feeling whoever Brock just created, he is going to regret, deeply.